Roscoe Crosby was a good football player and a good baseball player. And the fans and stuff see you scoring touchdowns. They see you hitting home runs, but they don't know what's going on when you walk off that field. You know, I was a guy who blamed people because I felt like I tried to do the right thing all my life. I didn't quit school. I didn't sell drugs. You know, so when I felt like that was taken away from me unfairly, it was dark and it was dangerous. I had so much anger in me that it was just boiling to the top. I wasn't afraid to die. I was driving and I was thinking about everything that had happened. I had thought about my sports career. I'm just in a daze. I'm in a daze, and I remember going off the road right at the bridge, and it's kind of blurry to me. I don't know whether I tried to do it or what. I just knew I dazed out. At that point, I knew it had got so bad where this wasn't the time for Clemson. This wasn't the time for the Royals. I had to get Roscoe under control. Something bad was gonna happen. When I got here, man, I mean, God set everything up. I mean, you know, when I was 13, you know, I had already started getting scouted into Major League Baseball. You know, football, everything had lined up for football. So, you know, when I got here, the only thing I had to do was continue being who I was and continue working hard, and everything else took care of itself. These are a lot of the balls and everything, a lot of home run balls that I had from Pony League, Dixie Youth. This one was the Player of the Year, statewide Player of the Year. This was statewide All-State team.
And this kid's like a man amongst boys playing in high school football. You know, he was just so big and explosive, you know, to be that size and be that fast and agile in high school. I was like, this dude's freaking nature.
You know, everybody was talking about it in baseball and football. You know, everybody knew Roscoe. You know, everybody had to prepare for Roscoe.
We played Gaffney, and right before the game, he got all fired up. They said, we ain't scared of Roscoe, kick the thing to him. So they kicked it off to him, and there was about 8 or 9 scouts sitting at the goal line, and Roscoe caught that ball on the 1-yard line and went about maybe 15, 20 yards and cut to the outside, and then nobody's seen him since. He was gone.
He was the #1 wide receiver in the country. Every school in the country offered him. Just a big, physical, could run, great hands, great route runner. And he was also projected as a first-round pick in baseball.
When I was playing baseball, you know, I'm loving it. Football season get to come around, I get the itching for football, and I'm back out here on the football field. It really came down to, Roscoe, are you willing to give up football? I started to hear that the last 3 months of the process. Like, if this kid can give up football, he can be the #1 pick in the draft. I never could make that decision. I always said I would go let the door close on one or the other because I never could make that decision.
A lot of teams talked about buying me out in the first round, buying me out of football. So, but it was just kind of hard for me to do that because football, I really do enjoy playing football. Kansas City knew I wanted to play football as well, so I was happy to see that they did take me in the second round and go allow me to play college football.
He told them up front. He told them before the draft he was going to play college football. He told them that. They still drafted him in the second round and gave him $1 million. You don't do that in the second round.
There was a lot of pressure from the Royals, and I had to talk to Coach Stockstill about it a couple times because it was new to Clemson too. Nobody really knew. Nobody wanted to step on each other's toes. So the Royals offered me a lot of money not to come to Clemson. Even after they drafted me in the second round, it was still talks about them buying me out of Clemson.
Looking back on it, I wish probably that could have got him some guidance that wasn't pro-Clemson, that wasn't pro-baseball.
I wonder what he would have done had he chosen just one sport. I think everybody, second guesses that.
If he'd ever had both in football or even both in baseball, there's no telling what he could have accomplished. I think at the time, he set the record for freshman most receptions at Clemson.
I enjoyed playing the game, but I really didn't never get a chance to enjoy it. And the fans and stuff see you scoring touchdowns. They see you hitting home runs, but they don't know what's going on when you walk off that field. It was just bad at times, man. Well, I'm like, man, I don't know if I'm gonna be able to make it.
I really think the beginning of the frustrations that really blew him up was the wreck that occurred with his best friends.
These guys wasn't just friends. Like, this was kind of like my family. I was in Orlando, Florida, so I'm like, man, I'm Disney World, all this type of stuff. So I wanted them to experience something outside of Union.
So we took off to come. It was at night. Some of us sleep on the way down there. Next thing you know, I woke up, we was going out the road, and we hit a tree. And when we hit that tree, next thing you know, I just heard a whoosh sound, like the car caught on fire, And everybody was in there. Only 2 of us made it out.
Three of them is dead. And when he told me that, I dropped my phone. And I'm crying, I'm in tears. Because the night before, one of my other friends had called and told me to tell those guys to wait. And I didn't tell them to wait. And I beat myself up about that for years. I'm going through all of that at the time, and it's 2002, and then I gotta have surgery, Tommy John surgery. So it was tough. I couldn't focus in school. So I ended up having to withdraw from Clemson in 2002 and just rehab. Because at this time, I'm not in school, so I'm gonna have to play straight baseball. Royals are looking at it like, we got him now to play straight baseball. Clemson called and said, the NCAA then gave you a hardship waiver. And I'm like, well, I'm still up on a 2-sport contract. I called my agent, it's like, man, you're fine. I get a letter from the Royals, probably like a week before camp starts, saying that I breached my contract. And those guys got on the phone and was like, okay, let us make a call, let us call the Royals and get this stuff straightened out. And once they talked to the Royals, they was like, these guys are not budging, we're gonna have to go to arbitration. I knew it was about me playing straight baseball. I done did everything that was asked of me. From Clemson side, from the baseball side. Everything I did, I had a right to do. In 2003 came, I'm like, I don't really have a whole lot of money in the bank to say, well, I can pay for my schooling out of my pocket. They didn't know that that was one of the reasons why I had to leave.
Just was a young person that had lost his way. And it was so sad to me. I just wanted to just grab him and shake him and just put my arms around him. And I'll never forget that day when he left my office, because I did everything I could think of to try to talk some sense into him. And he just walked away.
And nobody knew what was going on. At this time, it was early in the day, about 2 o'clock one day, and I was driving and I just blanked out. No drugs, no alcohol. I'm just in a daze. I'm in a daze, and I remember going off the road right at the bridge, and it's kind of blurry to me. I don't know whether I tried to do it or whatever. I just know I dazed out. At this time, I'm just numb. Like, man, what else can it be? What else can happen? While going through that whole case, sitting around waiting, not knowing what the outcome was gonna be with everything that had went on, and still kind of, in a depression, worrying about, financial issues, worrying about whether I'll ever play sports again, basically. I lost my brother, and that was a very, very tough time for me and my family. We was at my grandma's house. We got a phone call saying that my brother was swimming with some friends and he never came up, that he had drowned. I buried everything. I buried my feelings. I buried the stuff that happened with the arbitration case. I buried sports. I buried a lot of stuff because the only way that I could deal with it was not think about it. And I don't think that was a good thing. I understand now that, I put everything in God's hand, that it's for me to share, and I think those guys would be proud to know that I'm sharing my story that maybe can help other guys make better decisions and to deal with tough situations. Ready to work? Come on. Hey, you ready to work? Come on. Hard work on 3. 1, 2, 3. Hustle. Jog. It took probably about 3 years after I walked away from sports. My life was going down a bad road, a very bad road. So I started working with kids in 2010. Step through your defender. Let's go. Get your eyes up. 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 There you go. Some of these kids got some very strong stories themselves. Just got dealt bad hands. People wrote them off. And it was genuine to me because it came, a light hit. And I fell in love with it. I'm talking to these kids, but while I'm talking to these kids, I'm really talking to myself. Don't make the same mistake as the guy did in front of you, all right? Hard work on 3. 1, 2, 3. Hustle. And that's when I was like, okay, God, I got you. I understand. Get back. Come on, shuffle.
I was so excited about that, and actually reached out to him and said, because at that time we have this program here for former players where they can come back and finish their degree, and I just reached out to him and said, hey man, I'd love to meet with you. So we talked about him coming back to school and what it was going to take and the commitment, and I said, hey, you have an opportunity to be a part of our program, and you can help us coach. You can be a student coach, and what a great example. Maybe the story didn't go quite like a lot of people thought it would, but we're not at the end of the story. I think he's got one class left this fall, and he's going to have his college degree from Clemson University. And such a great message that it's never too late to do what's right.
Everything that happened to me, I understand it all happened for this reason, for me to be back here in Clemson, helping these guys.
It's okay to get knocked down. We all get knocked down. But it's not okay to stay down. And Roscoe got knocked down. He might have got knocked down lower than a lot of people, but he got knocked down, but he didn't stay down.
I think the biggest thing that I'm gonna appreciate about it is it's the journey. My story's not just impacting kids anymore. My story's impacting people. So for me, like the journey is what I think I'm gonna make it that even more special, walk across that stage.